Yesterday, I shot a short video about people pleasing and the two types of people pleasing that I have observed. One being trying to run around, do everything for everyone to make them happy with us, and the other one being not speaking out and not speaking our truth and not saying uncomfortable things or things that we think might make people uncomfortable so that people around us can feel better. And I wanted to say just a little bit more about people pleasing and a little bit more about that second type today. And I woke up thinking about it. So here I am, fresh out of bed, not trying to please anyone by being made up or looking good. So tried on something new today. So why is people pleasing a problem? Well, first of all, it's a problem because we are pouring our energy into other things outside ourselves in an attempt to make ourselves feel comfortable. And you can probably see using logic that that just doesn't make any sense. It's not a good use of our energy because we ultimately have no control over what anyone else thinks or feels or how they respond to what we do. So it's a very unsovereign way of devoting our energy to our own sense of well-being and security. And specifically, the second version of people pleasing, the one where we keep silent and we don't rock the boat by saying anything controversial or anything, even anything that might make people feel uncomfortable. Well, why is that a problem? Who cares if anyone hears my voice or my version of life events? Is it so important to tell my story? Yes, it's incredibly important that we own our story and that we speak our truth. And I think that the Jian Ghomeshi shit show that's going on currently really points to that. And something that Brene Brown also talks about is so important. She says that if you want shame to grow in a petri dish, keep it quiet. What it needs to grow is silence. So being authentic and speaking our voice and sharing our story is not only important for ourselves so that we can heal from the traumas that have occurred in our lives, escape our shame, heal from our shame, and then in turn, once we've moved through that healing, be able to speak out on behalf of others. So the news reports right now are documenting many different women who have come forward against Jian Ghomeshi. And as I've watched this unfold, I've seen very different responses from people. Very angry responses, vindictive responses, and then there are really the ones that I'm most interested in, drawn to, are the calm, measured ones who state facts around statistics around women's assault and violence against women and what a tiny percentage of false reporting is. And really are calmly and firmly standing with these women and saying, we believe you. Some of those people are other women who have been victims themselves and moved through the trauma, and some of them are men. And the two things that I see that they must have had in common, and I don't have any backup for this, this is just my own personal opinion based on what I've experienced and what I know, is that the women who are able to stand in the truth of, yes, I was assaulted, here's what real life is, here are the statistics, here's what really happens when violence against women occurs. They have been heard. They've had a compassionate listener to hear their story. And that has allowed them to heal the trauma around it so that they can speak calmly and rationally about the subject and not fly off the handle. And I can only guess that the men who are standing and speaking with these women, Owen Pallett posted something very courageous, are men who also were able to listen, who had this capacity to sit and compassionately listen and heard a woman's story and understand what this is really about. So, yeah, speaking our truth is incredibly important. And I can only imagine how uncomfortable it was to speak those truths or to hear those stories initially. And I would really encourage people to develop the tool of compassionate listening because it has the capacity to change the world. Thanks, guys.